We changed up our structure of the foundation a little over 2 years ago, thanks to Peter Borzak. And really the reason for that was that we've had so many great people involved in the foundation for so long, but there are so many new people that wanted to get involved, and so we needed to create opportunities for those new people to continue to get involved. And I look back at Al Claremont coming to us with the idea of the education program, and Peter Borzak with additional educational programs, and associate board members with ideas, and the junior board members, young kids coming with ideas. And really the growth of the foundation and the reason why the foundation is what it is today is because of the people that have gotten involved. We were a small group, friends and family, and it is going to continue to snowball. So what we did was we decided we'd have an executive committee of 15 people, and we'd have a larger board that would be able to work at the committee levels and do their work at committee levels rather than getting weather reports every month. And so we're thrilled that this has been 2 years now, and really the idea has come to light and it's proven out. If you take a look, we've got some existing executive committee members that have served previously, and we have new ones aboard. And so I'll let you look in your packets, I'll let you look at the board, but we're really thrilled to have the new executive committee. So congratulations to those that are on the executive committee. But what's really important is that we need your help. We have 44 current board members, and we have 6 open seats. And over the next 2 to 3 months, we're going to reach out to all of you and encourage you to provide us with nominations and suggestions. And as I look out at the crowd, one thing that really impacts me is that on our executive committee and on our board, we have people that started out as students 15, 17 years ago, came onto the associate board, and now are on our larger board. And I think it really speaks to the organization that we've created, that people want to stay involved over time, and that there is upward mobility within our organization. So I strongly suggest that if you know of anybody, if you're interested, please reach out to us, because we'd like to bring on at least 6 new board members, but we'd also like all of you and others to continue to get involved in the foundation. There is no shortage of opportunities to get involved in the foundation. Save the date, October 15th, we'll be celebrating our 21st annual dinner. And again, I think about that. Our first dinner in 1999, we had 80 people at Maggiano's. A very generous person walked up afterwards and said, "I'd like to underwrite the entire dinner." And that kind of got us off and running. And so we're now on our 21st dinner. We have between 750 and 800 people that attend the dinner. And it's really primarily thanks to the retail real estate industry, and where we think that there's tremendous opportunity with this dinner is outside of the retail real estate industry and additional areas of real estate and beyond, outside of real estate in general. So we think there's great opportunity with growing the dinner. Looking forward to the upcoming year, where are we really focusing time and efforts? Of course, on the existing programs that we have, but we think that there's great opportunity. We've already gotten involved in growing making the real estate industry a more level playing field. And so more women and more diversity in the real estate industry, you saw a slide about Embark, is an area that we're going to be focusing from an education standpoint. And I think you'll hear this several times, we have a tremendous organization, a tremendous apparatus. We have not scratched the surface from a dollar standpoint of what we're able to raise. We've raised it within the retail real estate industry. That is why we brought on Giving Tree, a development consultant, and why we've committed to bring on a full-time development director, which will happen over the next year. And for the foundation, I think we're going to look back, and this is going to be a seminal year for us. This is a critical point in the foundation's history. This is the point where we grow beyond event-based fundraising. We really have never reached out to individuals. Everything that we've raised has been event-based. And so think about the possibilities if we go beyond, which we are going to do, event-based fundraising to individual fundraising, but outside of the real estate industry. And so we're looking forward to working with all of you to grow beyond our existing core of donors, and we think that there is a massive, massive world of donors out there, and you'll hear about Northwestern in a little bit, and I could not speak more highly of it, but we have an incredible partner in Dr. Platanius, Dr. Benson, Dr. Mulcahy, Elizabeth, and we are excited about sharing what we do with Northwestern with the rest of the world. So Katie asked me to share what my vision is for the next year, and I think it's explosive growth, at least getting on the path of explosive growth. And so I'm really, really excited about that. With that, Zach Yarnoff, if you would come up. Zach has served as our associate board president, commanding 35, 40 young associate board members for several years. And Zach has done just a phenomenal job. He's transitioning this year. We are certainly not losing Zach, but gaining him in another area of the foundation. But we're really grateful for what you've done, Zach.
I came to the Eisenberg Foundation through a mentor program that I had done when I was in college, and then after college wanted to get more involved, and have had the honor for the last 3 years of serving as the associate board president. I think what is so unique about the associate board is so many people on that board, there's 44 people on the board, come through one of our education programs, whether it was a mentorship program like I did, it was our case competition, or one of our other initiatives. And what that creates is really a very dynamic, passionate group of people that the foundation has given them something, and now they want to give back. And as a result, we're able to help orchestrate initiatives that raise a lot of money for cancer research and create a lot of awareness in the real estate community for educational initiatives. So many of our major contributions are listed here, but our board members are involved throughout the organization. So in the past year, we raised $250,000 that goes towards cancer research. Our events drew more than 1,000 people. Our marquee event being Eisenopoli, as well as Rock the Boat, Team Eisenberg, the Real Estate Challenge, and Career Day. So I'll get into those contributions in the next few slides. I think Eisenopoli this year was chaired by Mikey Mintz and Hannah Oyman. They did a phenomenal job of building on what, similar to the annual dinner, started as a relatively modest event and has now grown into an event that more than 600 people attend. That raises almost $250,000 for cancer research. So you can see in 2011 we did, call it $50,000, and we've more than quadrupled that number over the past handful of years. So just phenomenal job by Mikey and Hannah and their committee delivering on what was just an absolutely phenomenal event. Rock the Boat, we just had our 2019 event this past week, which raised over $33,000. Last year's event raised over $26,000. It's a great time, great networking event on the Chicago River that sells out every year. Tyler Buck, who I saw, and Jackson Fawcett chaired that event and had a great committee that helped them put that on. And then Team Eisenberg, which is our year-round running team, with our marquee event being the hot chocolate in November, but you can run year-round. So Vince Pine and Donnie Manhard did a great job this year, and would encourage those in this room to run with us. If you're a runner, if you want to do a 5K, marathon, it's a great, easy way to get involved with the foundation. So Leslie had previewed it, but one thing I'm very excited about is our new leadership committee. There are 4 people on the associate board. We have a leadership committee comprised of 4 people: the president, the vice president, treasurer, and secretary. The outgoing members had served for between 2 and 3 years, and the incoming members taking over are people that have been instrumental to the growth of the foundation I just talked about. They all bring years of experience having run committees and volunteering, helping in various initiatives. So I'm very excited. Jenna unfortunately had to leave for a flight, but Jenna Gobig's taking over my role as president, and I could not be more excited to have her in that leadership position. And they take over at a time when I think our board overall is as healthy as it's ever been. We've added 14 new associate board members this year. Like I said, we're at 44 total members, and just the quality and passion from each of those new members and existing members is really incredible. And I know as I look forward to what we're going to do in the year ahead, I'm just very, very excited at our growth opportunities. So with that, I'm going to pass it to Stephanie Fick, who's going to give the junior board overview.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Fick. I guess I oversee the junior board. This is one of our founding members that I brought along with me, and there are many of them sitting in this room. While I oversee the junior board, we have a complete leadership team consisting of all high school students who run all the meetings, implement most of the decisions that are made, plan the events. We just kind of sit back and watch it all happen. The junior board runs on a school year basis, so we're kind of at the end of our year, our annual, I guess our fiscal year. So for the 2018-2019 school year, we had over 80 board members. That includes ambassadors who volunteer at events, spread the word, to full members who attend all of our meetings, also volunteer, and really contribute to everything that the junior board does, as well as our leadership team. So in October, the junior board was represented as Braeside Elementary School's chosen charity for Red Ribbon Week. We provided red t-shirts to all the students at the school, and basically we raised awareness. Just seeing the t-shirts all throughout the school year around town has brought us a lot of publicity, a lot of interest. It's really helped us grow. We continue to really explode every year. So we put together 2 major fundraising events this year. In April, we had our 2nd annual carnival which attracted over 300 guests, over 100 volunteers, and raised more than $36,000. And then just a little over 2 weeks ago, our third annual Snip, Clip, and Cure event, which raised over $10,000 for the foundation and provided hair for children with hair loss, which kind of self-explanatory. They provide hair to children who have suffered from hair loss because of all different sorts of diseases, but we're able to help both foundations at the same time. So both of these events were run by all the members of the junior board, ranging from ages 6 to 18. This year we said goodbye to our graduating junior board president of 3 years, Mari Young. She was a wonderful influence on all of our board members, and she'll really be missed. It was tough to say goodbye, and there are very big shoes to fill. Our final event will be participating in the 4th of July parade in Highland Park on the float. And then while the children are playing all summer, the leaders, the parents will discuss plans for the upcoming year, and we're just really excited to continue to see it grow. Finally, the junior board wouldn't be so successful without the support from the other boards in this organization, and we thank you for everything that you do.
We're going to transition now to the Philanthropy and Action part of our agenda. So this will give us a better understanding of the impact that we're having on both sides of our mission in real estate education and in cancer research. So we're going to start now with Al Claremont, our real estate education chair, and Matt Lesh, his vice chair. Please join us on stage.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Katie. Katie patronized me. In years past, the cancer speakers went before the education speakers. This year, education gets to go first. I want to say something, though, about the other branch of our foundation, the cancer research. I despise cancer. I think of my Aunt Ida, died of cancer. Her sister, Aunt Rose, Aunt Mary, died of cancer. Aunt Bernice died of cancer. It wasn't pretty. Uncle Mickey, cancer survivor. These are my ancestors. The next generation, Aunt Sherry died of cancer. Auntie Dee Dee died of cancer. My mother died of cancer. My father is a cancer survivor. That's everybody. That's that generation. I fear for my 4 brothers and sisters. I fear for myself with those genetics. I fear for my children. This cancer is one nasty son of a gun. And I want to thank the very, very smart and dedicated professionals, doctors and technicians who are fighting this guy head on. Thank you. Matt and I are going to talk about real estate education, something that we're very, very proud of because we've done so much for so many people. And something else that we've done, and that is that we've created a heart and a soul and continuity for the foundation. How many people here joined the foundation because of the real estate education programs? Wow. And think of how many more are going to. Well, our programs are designed to provide hands-on educational experiences that give students exposure to real working world of real estate and access to industry leaders. Over the past 20 years, we have impacted the lives of thousands of students. We have distributed, I thought this was like a typographical error, but it's not, hundreds of thousands of dollars for scholarships. And we've been the bridge between students and the real industry, launching hundreds of career paths. We now have 14 programs and a 15th on its way, which are getting better and better, reaching more students. Every single year, oh, and wait till you see the sizzlers that we're preparing. Matt and I are going to highlight some of our key real estate education accomplishments. This year, we have scheduled, or we're on target, for 2 mentorships or career counseling sessions each week. That sure adds up. Our grand total of mentorships scheduled since our inception, I'm glad I don't have to count them. Steve, imagine if we did that roll call. 1,421 days of one-on-one mentorship since the inception of this pillar program.
Embark. Under the leadership of Ben Pallone, we deepened our relationship with Embark by hosting a Journey and Community Social 150 North Riverside Drive in November and a community social at the offices of Levenfeld Pearlstein in March. We plan to continue to supply students with positive models for success, bringing them out of their neighborhoods and directly engage with the cultural and commercial worlds of our city.
Our 12th annual Career Day, chaired by Kristen Williams and Satung Ma in November, welcomed 125 students from across the country. This 2-day event was a deep dive into the real world of real estate and included a Young Guns dinner at Gino's East, a roundtable lunch with industry leaders, a career and internship fair with 20 companies, and 2 incredible site tours to Shapack Partners' 811 Fulton property and the gargantuan Chicago Old Main Post Office.
Real Estate Challenge. Our Real Estate Challenge, chaired by Nick Bartholomew, I think is in the room here, back in the back. Thank you, Nick and team. Took place in April. Student teams created comprehensive development plans for Starwood retail properties, 154,000 square foot department store box formerly occupied by Carson's in Chicago at Chicago Ridge Mall. Congratulations to the winners, graduate division winner, University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and undergraduate division winner, Marquette University.
Our Scholar program, chaired by Stephen Weinstock, now in its 4th year, included 6 incredible scholars, 3 graduates, and 3 undergraduate students. This program is a 6-month-long real estate boot camp experience that begins with an announcement at our annual dinner and includes close relationships with super mentors, days of mentorship, career counseling sessions, industry field trips, networking opportunities, and more. It culminates with a trip to Recon in Las Vegas, complete with a scavenger hunt and a $5,000 scholarship for each student. Our 2018 and 2019 scholars, come on up, please. Gabriel Catalias is going to say a thing or two about the experience.
Thank you very much. Hey everyone, so I'm Gabrielle Catalias, and I was a 2018-2019 scholar. I'm pursuing my MBA in real estate at DePaul University. So prior to the scholar program, my only real experience has been in affordable housing. So nothing retail or other sectors I have not touched. So being a scholar, this year I have been able to experience every single sector, from development to brokerage to commercial banking. It has really been a great experience. My super mentor was Dan Walsh with Ryan Companies. He works on the development side of real estate, focusing on senior living. So I got to go down to his offices, meet his team, really understand the day-to-day functions of his group. We also toured one of his stabilized properties, and I also got to put on my construction hat and tour a site that's under construction. So it was really cool to see the various stages and functions of the development side of real estate. And also, we have been able to experience many networking events and other scholarship functions throughout the year. One of I'd say my highlights would be Stephen's challenges of getting 5 to 10 business cards from every event. While it was a little overwhelming at first, the first time I did it, I really appreciated it, and I think at the end of this journey I have about a stack of business cards this big that I've met, and I know that I'll have these connections throughout my career. So that has been a great experience. Lastly, ICSC. It was really 3 full days of networking, nonstop, on the go. The scavenger hunt literally led us to every single corner of the convention, and it was really amazing to see all the companies, and it has really helped me understand what I wanted to do, not only after graduation, but 5-10 years down the road. So I'm very grateful to the Eisenberg Foundation, to Stephen, to Al, to everybody involved. It has truly been an amazing journey for me, and I'm sure it has been for you guys as well. And I've made some great friends along the way, so that has been awesome.
We really just scratched the surface of what our education committee does. And we are so grateful for leadership. Every year, so many people step forward and volunteer, and a strong component of that is leadership. Who is going to take the bull by the horns and steer this and steer that? And we have been very fortunate in having a leader each year. Now, the award began as a surprise. I was surprised as the first honoree. I was very touched, and we have continued the tradition of a surprise for our winner. But before we do that, I want to call for an encore honor to our previous winners, many of whom are here. If you just stand up, that would be nice. Satang Ma. You can hold your applause till the end. Theron May is here. Peter Borzak. Peter Eisenberg. Steve Weinstock. Stand up, Peter. Jenna was here. I think she is gone. Matt Lesh. Ken Marino is here. And Barry Millman is not here. Ben Pallone is not here. Weston Harding. Those are our history of leaders. Well, we're going to grow by one today. And again, for drama, it's a surprise. And the recipient, just never knows that he or she is about to be named. And we're going to experience a first for the Harold E. Eisenberg Foundation today, and that is our recipient was here for our board meeting and then slipped out. So our winner is Christian Williams. Ta-da! Christian has been a wonderful leader, as a mentor, a super mentor, and a leader of the Career Day, and a lot more. And we are so appreciative of Christian. And I thank you on behalf of the Education Committee. Now we move to the Cancer Research Report. Mark.
Thank you. My name is Mike Brancho. I'm with the Cancer Research Committee. I'm very honored and excited to be a part of this committee. The foundation's relationship with Northwestern first started 20 years ago when Harold Eisenberg was treated by Dr. Al Benson. Since then, we've grown in ways that we could have never expected. We support innovative clinical trials in cancer prevention and treatment. Our tissue bank now holds 25,000 tumor samples used for breakthrough cancer research. We support the critical work of a clinical research nurse, Vicki Maurer, who helps to coordinate tissue donations for eligible cancer patients. We are now in our 4th year of awarding a Genius Research Scholar with seed money to explore new ideas aimed at discovering cures to GI cancers. And we are embarking upon a 3rd year of funding our largest gift commitment of all time, $1.5 million to establish the Harold E. Eisenberg Foundation GI Cancer Oncoset. In addition, we're rolling out a new initiative to provide cancer care packages to our cancer patients that are enrolled in these programs. I just wanted to give you the brief rundown. We have, to provide a report on the impact of the work in cancer research, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Leon Platanius, the Professor of Oncology and Director of the Lurie Cancer Center.
On behalf of the Cancer Center, of the Lurie Cancer Center, I want to thank you again for doing something so important. You are supporting cutting-edge research at the time, maybe at the time in history, that it should have the most impact ever. I just want to, I just want to make some points about cancer immunotherapy. I just want to reiterate that, as we heard, there have been 3 Eisenberg Research Scholars who have done great work. Dr. Guangyu Yang, he has been working on profiling colorectal cancer databases and is trying to develop treatments, ultimately to develop treatments for cancers with the TAF mutations, the BRAF mutations. Dr. Ronan Sunagin, you heard already that he got a large award from the American Cancer Society. He also published a paper in a very prestigious journal last year, the Journal of Clinical Investigation. And Dr. Sui Huang, who was last year's award recipient, is half the way through in her research that is trying to target a new enzyme in pancreatic cancer and develop a new drug for that disease. Now, as I mentioned, and it's going to be brief, I wanted to make a couple of points about immune therapy of cancer. Some of you may be familiar with this. Last year's Nobel Prize in Medicine was given to these 2 gentlemen. One is Tasuku Honjo, who is in Japan, and then Jim Allison, who has been in a few places in the US, but is currently at MD Anderson. And what they discovered, they called it in their acceptance talk as the penicillin of cancer. They brought an understanding of the immune system that gave rise to new drugs that have now impact in cases that nothing was working before. And they compared that, and other people have compared that with the discovery of penicillin, because it was the opening of the era of antibiotics. Penicillin did not cure everyone, but it opened the field, and then now we have antibiotics that made many fatal infections history. So here is what this is an important element of what they're doing. I don't know if you can see on the left panel, you can see a cancer cell, a tumor cell, the big one here, being attacked by a cell of the immune system. And the way this happens is there is this bridge here, there is the immune cell uses this T cell receptor to go identify the cancer cell so it can kill it. That's a fundamental mechanism that our immune system has that prevents the development of cancer. It happens every day in your body. Now, when you develop cancer though, for whatever reasons, when this mechanism fails. And the immune system tries to kill cancer because the immune system keeps recognizing cancer. The cancer cell defends itself by this thing here. The PD-L1 fights back, throws a message that blocks the immune cell. So the immune cell attacks, the cancer cell fights back and blocks the cancer cell. So this is what was the Nobel Prize. They identify how this happens, how the immune system does this and how cancer cells fight back. And it is important because then what we had was the development of drugs that go and block this mechanism. What we have here is now an antibody against this bridge between the cancer, the bad one, between the cancer cell and the immune system that blocks this ability of the cancer cell to fight back. And that lets, so by doing that, and there are drugs right now in the market that patients get, you let the immune cell attack the cancer cell and kill it. So that's modern immunotherapy right now. It still needs to go a long way because that's a very generic mechanism. It works in many cancers. Remarkably, it does not work at all in pancreatic cancer. It worked in advanced cases of lung cancer that nothing was working, but pancreatic cancer has been completely refractory to that too, meaning there is something else that we don't understand at this moment and needs to be identified to make it effective too. So I just wanted to make the point that we are in an era that things can move fast in medicine. Philanthropy now matters more than ever. Today we don't know this mechanism in pancreatic cancer. 5 years from now, we will know it. The problem is that until we find this mechanism, many people will be lost. And that's why philanthropy is so important, because it can accelerate things in an era that we can really do something. So I'm personally very grateful for all your efforts here. This is an amazing effort, an amazing foundation with very high impact. And I want to thank you once again for everything you do. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Zoli Zhang. Yep, yeah, come down. Dr. Zhang was selected by the committee that we have that reviewed candidate scholars for this award. He's a professor of radiology, and he works on immunotherapy, except that he works from a different angle, and he will explain it. He tries to find way to identify the events and make it easier to track the outcomes. So, thank you.
Thank you very much for selecting me to receive the Edinburgh Scholar Award. This is one of the most significant events of my professional career. This award supports me to do additional animal experiments, and the data will serve as preliminary data for NIH grant application. Pancreatic cancer is third leading cause of cancer-related mortality in U.S. The median survival of this disease is around 6 months. Treatments including surgery, chemo, and local therapy have offered little or no benefits. The purpose of this study is to investigate whether RRE treatment of pancreatic cancer improves the therapeutic response to DC vaccination. RRE means irreversible electroporation. It's a neural tissue ablation technique. DC is dendritic cells. DC vaccination is a systemic immunotherapy. Why combination RRE with DC vaccination? DC vaccination has clinically relevant mechanisms for cancer therapy. However, clinical trials have demonstrated poor therapeutic efficacy. To improve DC vaccination, we need to overcome tumor immunosuppression. Our studies have showed RRE destroys tumor microenvironment and overcomes tumor immunosuppression. we expected the RIE treatment of pancreatic cancer improve the efficacy of DC vaccination and increases overall survival. Thank Edinburgh Foundation for support. Thank you very much for this great opportunity. Thank you.
So we are very excited about the work of Dr. Zhang because it's a different type of immunotherapy involving trying to create vaccines with dendritic cells. So next year we will find out more. But now I would like to introduce Dr. Deva Mahalingam. Deva is associate professor in oncology, and he runs our developmental therapeutics effort. And he will get some support this year for a very exciting program that he has for molecular profiling of liver tumors for new treatments as part of the Eisenberg OncoCell. So, Deva?
So I was told 2 slides only. So I should take my name out from the first slide and then go directly into it. So liver cancer, it's been a challenge treating patients with liver cancer for many years, actually. And for the last 10 years, there was only one drug available for liver cancer, and that drug is called sorafenib. Some of you all might know it. And it took a decade of work to come up recently in the last 2 years with a few more drugs. So they're often divided into 2 large classes. One is sorafenib, which are called VEGF TKIs. And then recently, just last year, immunotherapy became an option for liver cancer patients as well. Now, how we treat liver cancer is we compartmentalize these patients and say, okay, now you're just diagnosed with cancer, so you take sorafenib because this was the first drug that was approved. And then if sorafenib stops working, we'll give you this drug. And then if this drug stops working, let's give you this drug. I mean, despite all the efforts in the lab scientifically to come up with great ideas, this is what we do in practice. So first line, second line, third line, you're done. Now, so the question is, why is it that way? And can we be smarter? Can we maybe say that not everyone is going to respond to immunotherapy? And could we pick out that 20 or 30% of patients that we know respond and give them the immunotherapy drug and not bother with the other VEGF, the sorafenib and things like that? So that's what we're thinking. And this slide, or 2 slides I was given. So this slide is trying to say that liver cancer is a molecularly heterogeneous tumor. There's a lot of genetic things that are going on there. And what the slide is trying to show you is that as the tumor progresses from early to late stages, you get this thing here is showing all the kind of mutations that you have in the tumor. Now, it took us a while to figure that out in liver cancer. This is only published in the last year because there are very limited tumor samples in liver cancer because you don't need a biopsy to diagnose liver cancer. It's actually diagnosed on imaging. So you see a tumor in the liver, it's liver cancer, let's give them the drug. That's it. So we have very little tumor, but now over the last few years, people have taken an effort to, with the invent of oncology, precision medicine, and our ability to sequence tumor, we find that these are the common genetic aberrations we see in liver cancer. Despite that, they are often very difficult to drug. So you can see the mutations when we sequence the tumor, but we don't know what drugs to give that. So people are starting to come up with classifiers to say that if you have a certain mutation and a certain profile, maybe you can give them sorafenib or something else, maybe you could do that with immunotherapy. So we thought maybe we should do this and start getting it out to the patients by sequencing the tumor and then trying to say, let's pick the appropriate drug based on your sequence. So we came up with this idea of this trial called a prospective molecular profiling. It's never been done in liver cancer. This would be the first. Prospectively, where a patient would come in and they would get a biopsy here. And the biopsy then would go into what we call a comprehensive molecular profiling. And this profiling would include a couple of things where we would take the tumor and analyze them for over 500 genes, look at the immune, whether the cells are naturally, there's a lot of immune cells in it, and then do this whole exome sequencing, which is something new. It's not available in normal routine practice right now. And based on that, try and figure out what drugs the patient would respond in under the OncoSet program. We have a molecular tumor board where if we find that these patients have a certain sequence, we would say that these are the patients you should go with a tyrosine kinase inhibitor like sorafenib or other drugs that have recently been approved. Or if they have a sensitivity to immunotherapy, which say you should be treated with immunotherapy as opposed to that. So it's very simple. We just want to see if it's feasible to get the patients to come in and get a biopsy, which is very rarely done, sequence them and tell them this would be the most appropriate drug for that. This process to do this takes about 3 weeks. And then once we give the recommendation, they can go to their own treating oncologist wherever they are and get treated with the recommended thing, and we will capture the data and see if the recommended treatment did better than what they would have got if they got standard treatments. In this case, sorafenib is the current frontline treatment. So this is a frontline study, and this is the study which I was hoping the money we got from the Eisenberg Oncoset program will help activate, and at least you'll see how we do with the first 15. It's expensive to run clinical trials, but I think this is an easy way to at least get the process up and running and see how we do with the first couple of patients from the study. Thank you.
Some of you may know Hall of Fame hockey player Eddie Olachek here. And Eddie is not only a hockey player, but he is also a colon cancer survivor. And he has been a great ambassador for colon cancer awareness. And we can't thank him enough for telling people about colon cancer and what's been going on. And he is also has contributed, he's one of those 25,000 colon tumor specimens in our tumor bank. So we appreciate that contribution to the research. Many of you may also know Kyle Davis, because it seems that he knows everybody. I'm really happy to introduce him. He's not only the best dressed guy in any room, he is also a survivor living with pancreas cancer. So we're going to ask them, I'm just going to ask them a few questions. This is just a conversation, and hopefully they can help to express some of the things that some of you may be familiar with, unfortunately, but some of the things that go through somebody's head when they're diagnosed with a cancer. So I'd actually like to start with you, Kyle. Can you just give us some idea of what happened or what your thoughts were, if you even remember? Don't feel like you have to say anything you're not comfortable with, when you were told your diagnosis.
Well, it kind of stops you for a second. I mean, the first thing that goes through your head is my lovely wife in the back and, my kids. And what the beautiful thing about Dr. Mulcahy is she didn't really answer it right off. She talked about a lot of other things. She said, you're 49 years old. The average age of detection is 71. You've got that going for you. You can handle stuff that other people can't. But that was the first thing that went through my head with my wife and kids, and it's pancreatic cancer. I said, that's game over. But as I've come to realize over the last 8 months, it's not really game over. And, my primary care physician who referred me to Dr. Mulcahy said, come on, Ruth Bader Ginsburg had pancreatic cancer. I said, well, so did Steve Jobs. It didn't work out very well for Steve Jobs. But she said, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pike. This stuff happens really fast and it changes really quickly. And one of the great things about the Eisenberg Foundation and the work that you do is you allow it to change quickly. When we started this 8 months ago, it was chemotherapy every other week, not unlike Eddie. It was, you're here for a long day, they strap a bag to you in a pump, you go home with that for 2 days, and people ask me, how long are you going to go with chemotherapy? And well, likely until I die. But now that conversation has kind of changed because of the work that you do and help Dr. Mulcahy and the rest of the folks at Northwestern, that stuff changes really quickly. So now, as of yesterday, when I came for infusion, where we didn't do an infusion because there's a new drug, which I don't even know the name of. Listening to you guys talk is kind of like me sitting at a Blackhawks game. You know what's going on. I just want a goal and maybe a fight. That's what I was thinking. So, I don't understand all the ins and outs, but Dr. Mulcahy and the staff and Caroline Castino, our day in, day out nurse, they make it easier for us to understand it and not worry about it so much. That they've got the right path, they've got the right game plan, they're drawing it up. All I got to do is execute it, and that works for me. So I don't know if that answers the question. But.
And I just want to make one comment. So Kyle's about to benefit from some of the work that is similar to what they're doing with the Oncoset project. So identifying a molecular abnormality and targeting that abnormality. So his treatment did just change, and these things can happen quickly with all this work. So Eddie, can you share with us some of your experience when you came in for that first chemotherapy treatment. Do you recall who you met, what your questions were, how you handled it, who was available to you?
Well, thank you very much for allowing us both to be here in front of you. And I have to say, I can't speak for Kyle. This is certainly the smartest room I've ever been in, except for my friend Dominic in the back row. He's an exception. But thank you for all you do. I had an incredible team that helped me through my battle. And Dr. Mulcahy is certainly at the front of that list. But I think for me, when I first had my initial consultation with Dr. Mulcahy, my wife was with me. And I think the meeting lasted about 47 minutes. I don't know how I knew that, but it was just the three of us. And I don't remember a lot of what Dr. Mulcahy said to me, except when she said, "Eddie, look at me." And she got my attention because I had a 1,000-yard stare, and I'm sitting there going, how in the hell am I in a doctor's office talking about cancer, and I'm the one that has this disease? And when Dr. Mulcahy said to look at me, I looked at her, and she says that I'm recommending 6 months of chemotherapy, and then we will reassess from there. But I am here to cure you, not treat you. Do you understand the difference? And that's what really struck a chord with me and Dr. Mulcahy. And I said to her right back, I said, so what you're telling me, Doc, is I'm signing up for 6 months of hell for 50 more years. Is that what you're telling me? And she said, that's the plan. And I will be looking her up in 45 or 46 years for another hug, if that indeed is in the plan. But coming for that first treatment, everybody was so helpful. Sitting in that waiting room for the first time, wondering what was going to happen with my wife. To go back and see the incredible staff that is at this hospital, and to see Caroline, Miss Caroline, as I referred to her, and to walk me through everything that was going to take place. Dr. Mulcahy already explained what was going to take place, but I was scared. I'm still scared, even though I'm cancer-free, some 16 months removed from my last treatment on February 21st at 9:02 a.m. was when I was unhooked at the last time. And I think the questions of how soon will I feel it, all of the anticipated side effects, but I was very comfortable. I was, like I said earlier, I was very scared, but I was very much at peace because there was not another place that I would rather have to battle and go to battle with than the people here at Northwestern and the team of that Dr. Mulcahy had put together before or after the fact of having my surgery with Dr. Scott Strong and Dr. Ruckham, and also Dr. Michael Terry, who was kind of the captain of my so-called team here to get me down here to Northwestern. But when you're scared and your heart rate is up and all of a sudden you get this shot of chemotherapy, and then you're going to be going home for 48 hours, as Kyle talked about with my situation, it tests your will to live. And any question that I had, I was never afraid to text Dr. Mulcahy or call her. On one time when I developed a blood clot in my treatment 3, I believe it was, where I couldn't even walk my right leg, just I felt like it was dominoes, and I couldn't walk, and I didn't know what it was. So I was already on another playing field of dealing with the chemo, and then I can't walk. So my mind was racing around, and we got it figured out, and one of the side effects. But for me, that first initial day felt like family, even though I was taking that medicine and I knew what it was going to do to me, and hopefully the end result of being cancer-free.
Thank you. Just a couple more questions. They're throwing out this name Caroline. So Caroline is one of our infusion nurses, and I just want to give a plug to all of our oncology nurses, because you cannot say enough about what our oncology nurses do. while
All of the nurses are fantastic, but Caroline is our nurse. She's the one we see every time. She's at the front of the, and I'm sure everyone has their own Caroline, but she's our Caroline. I mean, there's one that you see, and which is so great, because if I gotta walk in there every 2 weeks for the last 8 months and see just something different every time, they don't know what this happened, they don't know what that happened. I'm sure there's a chart that tells them all that, but Caroline just knows all that. It makes it much easier.
Right. So we love our oncology nurses and our research nurse, who's also funded through the Eisenberg Foundation. So the role of our research nurse, which neither of these gentlemen have had the opportunity to meet yet, but she's the person who will help walk people through these clinical trials that we do, because that's how we make progress in cancer, is by doing clinical trials and by really proving what treatment is effective. And Vicki is somebody who really helps to walk people through these clinical trials so that they can stay on study and we can get some answers. So thank you for the plug for Caroline. Yes, she's pretty special. I think we're probably running out of time, I suspect. So I did want Eddie, if you could comment one more time. You mentioned about 18 months, 16 or 18 months, I forget, cancer-free. Mm-hmm. So, you know, anybody who is touched by cancer, who lives with cancer, we're all cancer survivors. And people who've had a loved one who's battled cancer, they are a cancer survivor. Cancer has touched their life and they're a survivor. But tell us what it's like to have your cancer treated and now to be living cancer-free, but yet still having to go to an oncology office. And how is that, how does somebody rectify those things? How do you live with that?
Well, I think I know that it's going to be with me the rest of my life, and I think there'll always be that hesitation of getting too complacent, because all of a sudden one day back in late July of 2017, I couldn't go to the bathroom, and next thing you know, I'm having 6-hour surgery, and you know, the rest is history. But I think for me, it is about trying to inspire one person with somebody knowing my story, Kyle's story, whoever is out there, and I don't want to say I'm certainly very proud to be cancer-free and a cancer survivor, but to share my story and to help either somebody deal with it, to battle through and say, if that old hockey player can do it, I can do it. And something that my wife and I have taken great pride in is that we know how important the caretakers and caregivers are of people that are battling. Sometimes they are the unsung heroes, but they are going through a lot psychologically, not necessarily physically. I never saw my wife weak. I never saw my wife down. I never saw my wife worried around me. But I know that when she was away from me, I'm sure she had her moments, and I think that we got to make sure that we take care of them, the caretakers and caregivers, because they are the lifeline of somebody that is battling for their life. And I'll be forever grateful for my team and my wife of almost 31 years. There was a time, treatment 2, where I quit. I couldn't take the side effects. I would just go to the bathroom. All the side effects were kicking in. I can't do this. How can I get through 2 treatments and get to February 21st? And she grabbed me by the short hairs and pretty much just said, fight for me, fight for our kids, and fight for all the people that love you. We had a moment, and I said, okay, I'm just going to go one day at a time, and and whatever Dr. Mulcahy would tell us at the end of February is I would be able to live with it. But now when I go see Dr. Mulcahy, there's a little bit more of a bounce in my step. I feel a little bit better. I get on the scale in the back office. I feel a little bit better of getting on the scale than I did before because of all the weight that I had put on. I put on almost 50 pounds during my treatments, which was normal according to Dr. Mulcahy and Miss Caroline. And the last time I weighed in, I was saying, please don't be 250, please don't be 250, and I was at 249.8 my last treatment. And as I got off the scale, I said, as I was walking away from one of the nurses, or when I was on the scale, I said in the background, please, only one person on the scale at a time. And my wife gave me a shot right in the back, which she didn't take too I didn't take too kindly to. But now that I go in there into Doc's office every 3 months or so, I get a little bit pep in my step and there's a little bit more of a smile. But there's always that cloud there that you just never know. But every time I get in my car and I look in my rearview mirror, I just want to drive faster and faster and get farther and farther away from February 21st of last year.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I just want to give Kyle the opportunity, if there's anything else you want to say or let people know about.
No, I just want to thank you for all that you do. I mean, it's day to day for all of us. I think, you know, Eddie hit it right on the head, and, you know, my wife Kate's in the back. I mean, without them as the kids day to day, and you and Caroline, etc., you just don't get through this. I mean, it's my nature to go full steam forward. I'm not a sit at home in a dark room and cry kind of guy, but it's Kate and my kids and you guys that allow us to get through this, along with your support of the organization and all that you guys do. So, thank you.
I share often, I think one of the most rewarding things in my life right now is that 20 years ago, we did not have any options. My dad died within 2 weeks. And I get calls all the time. And to be able, when you're in that situation, all you want is a game plan in place to attack and go after the cancer. And so to have this partnership with Northwestern, where people are contacting me, contacting my mom, our family, friends, who are in that situation, and for us to be able to reach out on the cell phones of Dr. Benson, Dr. Platanius, send emails from people around the country, and for them to be willing to take a look at their charts, forward it on to the chairs of whatever departments are necessary, is really special. And so we do owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to the doctors at Northwestern. And I think as importantly, it has solidified my resolve, my brother's resolve, my sister's resolve, my wife, my mom, our entire family and our friends, that we are in the right place. And the programs that we are supporting with this precision medicine and now immunotherapy are the future of cancer medicine. And I am confident that we have the right partner in Northwestern. I am confident that we have the right people, the right volunteers in our foundation, and I am confident that we have the right staff led by Katie to truly make a major impact on people's lives. And now bringing in Giving Tree and to be able to work with them to expand our reach beyond the real estate community and be able to, for lack of a better term, help to take Northwestern out on the road to all of our contacts. We've done incredible things so far. The sky is the limit. And so we really look forward to working with all of you to continue to have an impact and an even larger impact on people's lives. And so I encourage you, the foundation encourages all of you to get involved in this organization in any way that makes you feel good, because we have plenty of opportunities for you to get involved, and we have plenty of opportunities to have an impact. So with that, I will thank all of you for being here, and I look forward to working with you over the course of the next year and many, many years to come. Thank you.